Howdy-ho and welcome to Rauta Beyond's Synthwave review. Now, people who have been hanging around for a while know that I recently reviewed, released by the same label, that is an album by Rauta Parker Club 707, which is a Synthwave album, kind of a modern classic if you will, that is future classic I guess, album being very recent. Now released by the same label is also a band or artist known as Waveshaper, and this is the Disc Hunter gatefold vinyl, what do we have here, and man, does it look like retro. I'm not sure if this actually reminds me more of Fallout video games or just 1980s TV series or movies, but there is a strong going back to the past kind of a feeling, back to the future if you will. And this is a really beautiful kind of a color swirl vinyl release, which is 45 rounds per minute kind of a release. Nothing more than that. It's just a vinyl and the covers, but there is something really magical when albums such as this with great cover art, I mean totally fitting the music that is, are being released. And to be honest, this is one good new chapter to the so-called retrowave or synthwave from the Swedish perspective. Much like Robert Parker, Mitch Murder and other artists doing synthwave from Sweden, this is pretty much the same school, yet also a little bit different. I mean, obviously, even if we operate in the world of retrowave, synthwave, outrun, or however you want to call it, they all have obviously their own sound and all gimmicks and all that stuff. Now, Waveshaper is an interesting case because it has a lot of beats. So instead of just going with Jan Hammer kind of a Miami Vice feeling, or those the Grand Theft Auto Vice City kind of stuff, being more like creating these moods and stuff without beats, this is very much like done with that. And in so many ways this actually is kind of a danceable. I mean, I'm no dancer, but even I can feel like my leg doing the mandatory moves just because the music is right there with certain kind of energy, positive vibes, and taking you to the so-called fake nostalgia. And in case you wonder what this fake nostalgia is, it's a word that I use to describe that it kind of takes you back in the past years or decades, like 1980s, so many ways. But it's not the real nostalgia, because obviously this is very much of 2000s release. So it's not like it takes you to the time when you were a kid and have attached memories to it, but more like a similar place. In so many ways, kind of a better than real nostalgia, because I mean with real nostalgia you might have these memories which are not that good. You might first remember that ice cream which was so great, only later on to remember, yeah, but then it started raining and suddenly your ice cream was laying on the ground and you were crying to your dad and mom and like, oh, well, your ice cream is gone, it's raining, I'm wet. So this kind of a fake nostalgia is better because it actually takes you to this sunny place, this valley of great memories, even though you don't really remember anything, but you're just in a place like, yeah man, it's just like my childhood. Summers were all full of sunshine, there were a lot of friends, mom and dad were great, I had great toys and all that stuff. Or maybe you were older and you're just thinking about the days when you got your first motorbike and stuff like that. Maybe you went for a boat ride and you were like, yeah, that's where I lost my virginity. Now, be it fake nostalgia or real stuff, doesn't really matter as long as the music is good, right? And this kind of stuff, in my opinion, is just doing it right. Now, if I had to be comparing these two, for example, that Robert Parker release, I would say this is not as good because competition is really hard. But this is a good album that gives you the right kind of a vibe, what you're expecting from a synthwave release. So in just case you just happen to go beyond these big bands such as Carpenter Brut and Perturbator, and you want to go further looking for these smaller artists you haven't yet discovered, well, Waveshaper is one of those artists you want to get yourself acquainted with. In my opinion, there's a lot of Fallout kind of a magic here, but without the violence, without the mutants, without that radiation, just old school car, some discs here and a diner with some kind of a data term. Really nice release. So definitely worth getting if you are into spinning some vinyls the old school way. Check out, I will have link provided in the description box so you can pretty much go and listen, and in case you just happen to like it, why not go for the physical product. Take care my friends, and see you with more reviews coming your way.